What's good, guys? My name is Seapeekay, one of the hosts of all things MCC, and today I'm back with the all teams announced for MCC 24 and my predictions at the end of the video. As always, they are just my predictions. I am wrong a lot. It's hard to be right when there's 10 teams to balance. Before we do get into this video, I've got to ask you guys to go ahead to the description and check out the first episode of the All Things MCC podcast that came out recently. It came out, it's me interviewing Ant Frost about all things MCC, and they're going to be coming out every couple of weeks, so go and check it out in the description. But without further ado, you can already see the red team, so let's get into that. Purpled, Captain Puffy, Wilbur Soot, and Rambo. Now, what a starting team I think this is. The return of Purpled, and this event sees Purpled have a really strong team. Purpled is obviously unbelievable at movement games and PvP style stuff. The Wilbur Rambo duo is back again, and Captain Puffy is a very strong competitor thrown in the mix. Now, I think this team has a really good balance because it is a team of people who would like to win the event, but also that have good vibes and will have like good fun and banter throughout as well. Some teams are really competitive, some teams are really fun, and I think this team is a nice balance of the two. Did Wilbur lament the last ace race or not? Maybe we'll get a Wilbur ace race song. I really hope so anyway. But overall, a powerful team. I think Scott told me that statistically this is the most balanced teams ever in terms of whatever method he uses to balance them. I think he said it's the most statistically balanced event we've ever had. So if you think this team is strong, there's going to be a lot of other strong teams too. And let's get into the next one. Next up, we have the Orange Ocelots made up of H-Bomb, Tubbo, Tommy Innit, and Jack Manifold. Now, I think it's pretty funny because obviously this is like H-Bomb babysitting the kids, which I think is going to be a great dynamic. Obviously, H-Bomb's going to be hoping for Sands of Time back. I think it would be an absolute crime if there was an event and H-Bomb wasn't in it. And H-Bomb was in it and there was no Sands of Time. We all know now that Tommy is quite competitive and does want to win. So I'm excited to see. I'm guessing it's going to be the H-Bomb Tommy Innit leadership crossover, similar to how me and Tommy had it in the previous event. I think it's unfair to say now. I think in the past, I used to mention a lot how I thought maybe Tommy and Tubbo and Jack would get caught up in bits they were doing and stuff. And I still think there's a little inkling of that with Tubbo and Jack. I think there's going to be some bits going on. But I do think overall this team is going to be pushing for the W. I do think it's a serious team, and I think they're going to be a big threat. Sands of Time obviously is going to be a huge one for them because H-Bomb is the king of Sands of Time. I think we can also see them doing well in a bunch of movement games, and they're definitely a frightening PvP team as well. Next up, we got the Yellow Yaks made up of Dream, Bad Boy Halo, Skeppy, and George Not Found. Now, this is a really interesting team because I do think this is quite a strong team because I won the event with Dream, Bad, and Finn. Now, I think that Dream is going to be, interchangeable with Dream. Bad is also as good as Bad was. George is probably statistically a little bit better than me. It's probably pretty close. I'm not too sure off the top of my head. And I think Skeppy is a good in for Finn. I do think Finn's a little stronger, and Skeppy's going to be out of practice with actually being in MCC. But we've seen a team like this win the event already, so there's no saying this team can't win this event. When I was doing my team predictions, I originally had Dream and George on a team, and everyone said that there's no way Dream and George will be back on a team again. But here we are. It's happened already. I'm excited to see what they can do. Obviously, any team with Dream is a threat. I don't think this team is going to be wanting games like Build More. I would have said Rocket Spleef Rush if it wasn't for the fact that Dream is literally unbelievable at that game all of a sudden. But I think Rocket Spleef Rush is still going to be a struggle in general for the team. But overall, it's a very strong one, and I don't think there's too many weak games. Next up is the Lime Llamas, also known, in my opinion, as how did this team even happen? I feel like it's very strong. I was very shocked when I saw this team come through. It's Kradsy, Shubble, Smager, and me. Or should I say Seapeekay, Smager, Shubble, and Surtsy, because he now has to adopt the S because the rest of us have S's at the start of our name. I honestly feel that this is a really strong team. Maybe I'm being a little biased, but I don't see us as having really any weak games. I think that me and Dave can take leadership in the sort of PvP games, whereas Scott and Shubble can take over leadership in the team-based games. I am absolutely going to be voting for Build More in this event, which is going to be wonderful. If it's there, we don't know. It could get benched. But I think we've got to be in contention for getting to Dodgeball. I think that we've got to be high up in people's predictions for this one. I really think it's a strong team. Again, this is a super balanced event in terms of averages and coins and stuff. We're not even the strongest team in the event. But this does mean that I am, I think, the third or the fourth player to complete the rainbow of colors. Scott finally put me on Lime. And I think I'm one of the first people to be on all 10 colors and have all 10 team placements, actually. I think maybe only Kara has that. So we're breaking records out here. And I'm looking to try my best so that we can get Kradsy his second win ever because his last win was MCC 1. He's currently on the longest losing streak, so we got to change that. Next up, we have the Green Geckos, made up of 5UP, Tapple, Orion Sound, and Gem. Now, this one I think is a little bit of like a wild card team because 5UP is obviously very strong. Tapple has been up and down. We've seen really strong performances. We've seen some weaker performances. So it all depends how Tapple comes into this event. Ollie is just doing as Ollie does, cruising along. He stays relatively close to his average most events. And we're going to see the return of Gem as well. Gem and Ollie have great chemistry. And I think what we're going to see here is 5UP definitely leading this team. I know 5UP's been asking for some strats and how to build some new strats on the Reddit. So could we see some funky strats that could actually put this team way out in front? Who really knows? It's MCC, baby, and we have no idea what's happening. But overall, I think one of the weaker teams statistically announced, but a great team nonetheless that I'm very excited to watch. So the first team of day 2, and upon making this video, day 2 has not been announced yet. We see, finally, I'm sure there's so many people who are going to be excited about this, Hannah Rose in MCC, teamed up with JoJo Solos, Amesy, and Pearlescent Moon. Now, in this instance, I actually gave Hannah Tubbo's score, and that wasn't because I think they have a similar matchup in games or anything. I actually wanted to give Hannah JoJo's score because I think they're going to be very similar players. But I didn't know if that would mess up the team because it's two people with the exact same averages. And Tubbo gets around 2,200 coins, and that's where I can see Hannah coming in between like 1,900, 2,200. So I'm excited to see this. JoJo coming off the back of, I think, her weakest event so far. But I know JoJo, and I know she's going to be grinding to make sure that she's in the top players of this next event. The return of Amesy and Pearl as well. I'm not actually sure what the Australian effect is on Hole in the Wall, or whether Hole in the Wall is even going to be in the event this time. But if it is, that could be a good game for them because we love the Aussie Ping X Hole in the Wall collab. Overall, a great team. I do think what this team hinges on is how well Hannah adapts to her first MCC and takes on the role. I do think Hannah's going to want to be in a leadership role, but JoJo's going to show some experience. Pearl, obviously the most experienced on this team. But I do think that JoJo's got some great leadership qualities, and I think we're going to see those shine through this event. And who knows? I think this is another wildcard team. It could be a top 3. It could be a bottom 3. It could be a middle 5. You never know. You just never know. Next up, it's the Aqua Axolotls, made up of fruit berries, smallish beans, Scar, and Cub Fan. The return of fruit, I think we're all very, very excited, and seeing teamed up with these 3 is going to be an absolute blast. Smallish Beans is having a fantastic season 2 and is really becoming a standout player on most teams that he's on now. Scar is coming off the back of his best performance so far. We are seeing Scar improve event on event, which I'm super excited for. I think this team is going to have a blast in things like movement games, mostly because of Fruit. Fruit's a really, really good movement player, and I think if he controls his team and tells them where to go and what to do, we could see this team do incredibly well. I'm expecting a top 10 finish from Fruit, probably top 5, and I'm expecting Joel to be up in the top sort of 15. I can absolutely see him in the top 10. And if Scar and Cub Fan get their average placements exactly where they're supposed to do, you can absolutely expect to see this team floating around the dodgeball scores. This one's going to be massively dependent on game order and what games are in, and we don't know that yet. So I'm excited. Who knows what's going to happen? Next up, we have the Bluebats, made up of Sapnap, Sylvie, Foolish, and G. Now, this one I am really excited for because we know that Sapnap and Sylvie get on really well. There's going to be a whole bunch of competitive banter between them, I'm sure. But this is a really, really complete and well-rounded team. I think, again, this is going to be a team that is going to want to avoid Buildmart if it's available. Don't think they're particularly strong. Again, games like Rocket Spleef Rush. But we know Satnav's going to be coming back to try and win Ace Race because he was so close last time, but I just snuck it away from him. We know it's going to be a strong survival games team. Sylvie absolutely is having a fantastic season 2. Really coming in around between like sort of around 17th place most events, I think now. G coming off of a weaker event, but again, with this team around her, I think we're going to see G have a really strong event. And can Foolish put up the numbers in the actual event? I am excited to see. I think it's going to be a really, really strong team. If this team gets PvP games late and they do as well as they can, then this could be a massive, massive team for the event. Second to last team, we got the Purple Pandas. Illumina, Ryguy Rocky makes a return, Michael McChill comes back, and Krinios makes a return. You know, I'd say makes a return for Ryguy Rocky, but Ryguy was in MCC 22, so it actually wasn't even that long ago. But good to see this team being put together. I think we're going to have such an incredibly stacked top 10 in this event. We've got literally a lot of the big hitters in. Illumina's going to be going for it. Fruit's going to want it. I am now in a position where I want top 10 every event. You know, we got Kratzy's going to want it. We've got Dream in there. George probably wants top 10. There's so many people that can fit into the top 10. It's going to be very interesting. I know Illumina's been watching the Ace Race VODs and is probably going to absolutely smash it. So that's my #1 competition for this event is can I beat Illumina? A really well-rounded team. I think what we see is a team of people who usually come between sort of outside of Illumina, who's always very strong. I think we see Rygar, Rocky, Michael, Machill, Krinios averaging around like 22nd place if you put them all three together, which is really strong. If all three of them do as well as they can do, then this is absolutely a team that we could be seeing competing for the top 3. No reason they can't be in dodgeball at all. I'm sure Illumina, after missing an event, is going to be coming back and wanting to absolutely smash it. So I'm excited to see this team's determination to get the W. And the final team is the Pink Parrots, or as they've been affectionately called, the Pink Pensioners. Filza in the Littlewood, Captain Sparkles, and Ant Venom. A whole team of over 30s. I cannot believe that I'm in a position where I'm too young to be in the Pink Pensioners, okay? It hurts a little bit. It really does hurt. Overall, you know, a strong team. I don't think it's the strongest team we've seen announced. Ant Venom's a little bit of a wild card. I'm not too sure how good Ant is at MCC games. I know Ant is an OG of the space, and I've known of Ant for a super long time. And also big up to Ant, because he said he's been watching the All Things MCC videos. So shout out to you, Ant Venom. But, you know, I think we do see a really well-rounded team. I don't think they particularly excel at many games, but it's like a jack of all trades, master of none vibe. I do think that with the right game order and the right games in the mix, we can definitely see this team doing well. Do I think off the bat that it's a winning team? Probably not. But I've been proven wrong and been incredibly wrong so many times now that you might as well stop listening to what I'm saying, honestly. I also only just realized how clever Captain Sparkle's logo is. Genius. I just thought it was a big S for Sparkles. I didn't realize it was C and an S. You live and you learn. You live and you learn. As always, a huge thank you to Sheeplord for making his team builder public use. We literally couldn't make half the videos that we make without this, so big up to Sheeplord. But you can see here down the side, look how close this is. Season 2 averages, like 87, 8698, 8592, 8520, 8487, 8324. It's all so close. The lowest ranked team is Cyan, and that's, I mean, likely because I just had to give a random thing. And like Amesy and Pearl haven't had the strongest Season 2s so far, but you never know what can happen. What I do like to see, though, is that based on Season 2 averages, I do still sneak into this top 10. Just about. Just about. So that's pretty cool. I like to see myself doing well, obviously. But what we can see from this is that it's going to be close. I think it's going to be super close. Last event, like Game 6, there was like 6 teams that were like 1,000 away from each other. So can it even get more balanced than that? Apparently it can. And let me just guess a game order and we'll see who would win it. But I'm going to be honest, I don't know why this would be the order, but Game 1, Survival Games. Game 2, Rocket League Rush. Game 3, Battle Box. It might not even be in the event. Game 4, Sands of Time. Game 5, Build Mart. It might not be in the event either. Game 6, Ace Race. Game 7, Grid Runners. Game 8, Parkour Tag. I actually think we could see Grid Runners potentially benched. I'm not too sure. Maybe Parkour Tag gets benched. I don't know. Some games have got to get benched in this event. All right. It has to happen. And if this were the game order, it would come with purple on top, orange just in second, lime right behind in third. A little bit of a gap between red. These are all within like 500 of each other, basically. And obviously, this is just a random order. You can see it just above my head here is what I'm referencing right now. But it's going to be a close one. It really, really is. And that's why this is going to be so hard for me to do my top 10 predictions. But I'm going to do it anyway, because why not? They're just predictions. Don't be mad if I put your favorite team in 10th. I've got to put someone there. I'll be back once I've done it. All right, I'm back and I'm done. Let's see what you all think. 10 cyan, 9 pink, 8 green, 7 yellow, 6 blue, 5 red, 4 purple, 3 aqua, 2 orange, 1 lime. Again, I am guessing these before we know the games, and I actually think there's going to be some big switch ups in games this time around, so I really don't know what's coming. So I will give you an updated one. I always do on my streams. If you don't follow me, twitch.tv/Seapeekay. I'm live literally every day, pretty much. That's my top 10. Take it or leave it. Probably leave it. But that's as much as I have time for. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this and you're excited for the event. I am super duper excited for this event, and I will see you all on August 20th for an absolutely great time where I'm going to be trying to get a large W. By the way, I'm fully backing myself to win. Here you go. I don't care. I'm fully backing it. It's been a while since I put myself in first. I'm backing it this time. I think we got it. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Seapeekay. Don't forget to check out the All Things MCC podcast in a link from the description, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.